Good afternoon, good lunchtime, everyone. Thank you all for joining us this Tuesday lunchtime, an hour shy of the Cheltenham Festival, and after Newcastle West Ham last night, a bit of a damp squib. I didn't watch it, but wasn't the best apparently. Welcome, Paul. How are you, and how was your fantasy weekend?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks, Fergi. Distinctly average, if not worse than that, maybe.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it's just FPL's like dragging me right down.
Same. I had a week. Go on. We'll just let's. I know you're going to say now. You're going to say you've had the worst week ever. You feel like quitting. You're just like you're a crap FPL player because you've only scored X amount of points. I know you're going to have scored like at least 5 more points than me. So how many points?
Oh, really?
I think.
I, I,
Well,
genu I,
I'm not sure.
I, I genuinely have no idea how you've done this
Well, I'll
weekend.
give you one clue. I had one single, which I think for the first time ever. I don't know if it's ever one single returning player.
Did you captain? Did you captain
I
him?
did. Thank the Lord. But other than that, nothing. So how many points did you score?
Well, I only had two, so 51.
47. What an awful week. Who was your other returning player?
Cliver.
Oh, okay. I've got Semenyo and Dango, unsurprisingly. Both
Well,
of
had
them.
Cliver had Semenyo would have got the assist, but Cliver had the goal chalked off as well for marginal offside.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, awful week. How are you set up for 29, I suppose?
So I've got 10 players.
Mm.
I include in that Dango and Lewis, who
Oh, wow, okay.
like the likelihood is that they won't start. So I've got two free transfers, and I'm not free hitting. I've got two free transfers, so I'm likely to do one of two things. One, take no hits and do Salah and Cunha to Haaland and someone else.
Who are of
Or
interest? Have you got anyone in mind yet?
maybe like a Langa
Yeah.
or
Okay.
Hudson-Odoi or
Yeah.
something like that. I've got 6.5 million, I think, to get a
Yeah.
midfielder on that
Nice.
basis. Or take a hit to do Cunha, Palmer, and Trent out. Keep Salah.
Yeah.
Um, for Haaland, and then again I can mix up which defender or midfielder I got on that basis.
Are you definitely wild card in 31?
Yeah,
Okay.
and therefore keep Salah at home to Everton is probably more important than keeping Palmer against Spurs. Maybe,
I'm not
I
sure
don't
on
know.
that. See, that's
Maybe
the only
not.
thing I'm contemplating. Just based on the form of all four teams involved there, I'm not sure there'll be that much of an upside. Like a
Maybe I'm worrying about effective ownership too much, knowing that people will still go back and captain Salah, even though Haaland's got
Leicester at
Leicester at
home.
home in 30.
No, I get it, mate. I get it, and yeah,
And,
I'm in the same
and you
boat.
save on the cost. Like, so when I come to wildcard, I'll have zero
Of
point 0.5
course.
extra or whatever as well.
Are
So
you keeping Isak?
uh,
Sorry, or not? Have you got Isak?
I've got Isak, and I was just going to keep him because
Yeah,
he plays Brentford 30, and
yeah,
again I've got money tied up in
yeah.
him,
Same.
and I can do it with the Cunha move. Hence why it has to be Sal or Palmer that I do it with.
Okay.
Could go without Haaland, but I think he's in Captain Wood instead.
I think you got to
I think
go
I'm going
for
to get
Haaland.
Haaland.
You got to go for Haaland. I think anyway. I think it's going to be hard for a lot of managers to get there without hits. So I'm on about the people down in our realms of what is it 5 to 7 800k.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hard for people to get to Haaland. So I don't think some will, and I also think some will be taking -4s and -8s. So and I think if we don't get him and he does go off, which against Leicester anything can happen. Don't think Wood is good enough. He's been over. Don't get me wrong. He's been sensational this season, but he's been overperforming. His have improved the last couple of games as well. I just can't see a Wood halt. He might score. Wood might, but Haaland's got just a lot more things. So I just think if I can get there, I'm going to. And I've got 3 transfers. I think our teams are very similar. I'm going to try and keep Salah and Isak, I think, for the reasons you mentioned. It's basically I've got like if I sell him and buy him back in 31 wildcard, I'm like almost $1 million down, I think, or something like that. So, with that in mind, I haven't quite worked it out yet, but I can do Cunha, Palmer, and Trent. So I think Haaland, Gvardiol, and then someone like an Alanga, but it'll have to be a cheap player. Which means I can keep Isak, keep Salah. Got Lewis as well, who I'll probably.
I think Nunes plays. I can't imagine him putting Lewis in against Mitoma.
No, that's a good shout. He could be a good option though for Leicester maybe, but yeah, similar sort of thing. I think Dango really annoyed me. Because the Evan Nielsen thing. I think if I'd have known Evan Nielsen would have been back so soon, I wouldn't have gone for Dango when I did. I would have gone for someone else. And these knock-on effects then really, are really frustrating. And Dango is of a price point where you can't really get rid of him very easily. And you're not. It seems a bit silly to get rid of him because he might start, but then he's very sideways transferred to someone else if he doesn't. So may as well just focus on the rest. So. Yeah, frustrating, but hoping now from 29 onwards, really start to. I think up until 28, I do think casual managers have had a kind of flip of a coin in terms of how the weeks have gone over the last few weeks with the way that things have gone. But I think from 29 onwards, engaged managers should hopefully have the edge. In terms of having really well set teams for 29, 30, wildcard 31, triple captain, or your ass man, and I'm guessing in 32 onwards, maybe. I'm not sure.
Might just do it in 35 to 37, I think, possibly.
But yeah, definitely wildcard 31, I think. So because Brentford in particular, Bournemouth in particular have got, I think, a home to Ipswich in 30, aren't they? So could be like trebled up there. May even get Evan Nielsen, in addition to Cunha and Salah Isaac. I'm not sure yet. I have to think about it, but yeah, lots of options.
An alternative as well, thinking of I've got bench boost to play, and I imagine you have as well. Is that I think everyone was kind of looking at 33 to bench boost because it's likely to be a lot of doubles in there. But 32, if you look at the players from the big teams, they've all got really favourable fixtures. You've got the Newcastle and Crystal Palace double, but Arsenal's at home to Brentford, Chelsea's at home to Ipswich, even Brighton's at home to Leicester, if you include them, Man City at home to Palace, and Liverpool are at home to West Ham. So there's an argument there to be made that you could bench. I might consider it rather than 2 or 3 weeks in advance trying to plan out your team when you can just wildcard 1 week, bench boost the week after, and then be done with it, and potentially having extra transfers as well if you've saved your transfer from 31 in it as well. So that's certainly an option for me. Forest's at home to Everton as well. So if you were carrying sells and goals or something like that, then that looks like a favourable fixture, particularly from a defensive point of view.
Yeah, I agree. And we're also going to know, aren't we, the FA Cup semi-final lineup before 31 as well. Well, before 30, sorry. So a lot of it up until now, sort of a lot of the FPL content last week on it is hard to really plan much before we know that, because all it takes is a surprise or two. It seems a lot of the ties are very even, I think, apart from Aston Villa. If Bournemouth beat City or City beat Bournemouth, or if Fulham beat Palace, is it, or something like that. There's all sorts of permutations. So interesting week there. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Windy, good day, chaps. Hope everyone is well. He said he made 2 transfers in TFF at the weekend for a massive 3-point haul. Windy, you're taking Paul's place, because I made 2 transfers in TFF at the weekend for a massive 2-point haul. So thanks for that. Peter Clinch, my old headmaster, is in. Kaiser Sose, 253rd in Sun, 3k in Telegraph, 24 transfers left, down at 911k in FPL, because the highest I've been all season. He asks for any Cheltenham tips. I haven't got tips per se, but I'm all over. I'm all over every. Just saying to Paul, Cheltenham's my favorite. Well, it's one of my favorite weeks of the year, and just all over everything really. Just take. My only tip would be look across, because there's boosts everywhere, free bets everywhere. If you do your homework, there's this huge network of free bets you can do across all the betting sites. So for day one, you shouldn't really be spending your own money potentially.
Yeah.
And Chris Harvey is in as well. We've got a fairly good crowd for a Tuesday lunchtime. Appreciate everyone joining us now. Let us know how you're doing in FPL. It's been a tough all season so far for Paul and I. Speaking of Telegraph, how was your weekend? Did you make any transfers, Paul?
I made one for 1 point.
Superb. Superb.
I brought in Semenyo for Salah because he had a four for zero
Yeah.
on him, and the extra money allowed me to it's going to allow me to do other moves as well. Probably not this week, maybe more so the week after the international break, and I'll have to deal with injuries and such like. But I've got a team now that has I think 8 players in the FA Cup next round. Um, so I'm pretty happy with how things went. The Gehi shout's probably still one of my favourites this year. It's not been, like masses and masses of points, but I've had a steady stream of points from him after you advised it on the Monday night that week, when they were playing Doncaster in the cup. I've done really well from him since then.
Yeah, I think he's like 3 clean sheets in 4 or 5, haven't they? In that time, so the double up with Munoz has kept me afloat really. Yeah, tough old week. Highest scoring player, obviously, Salah aside. Bruno 8 points. I brought in Aina last Monday for Mateta, and he got a clean sheet, unexpected against Man City, but a series of fours and fives really. Brought in Palmer and Semenyo for a combined 1 point, but I did go up slightly in rank. 1272 for me now. 10 transfers left. Hoping to. I'm the same as you. I think I've got 9 players in the FA Cup, so hoping after this round of fixtures the coming weekend, and then which obviously Liverpool, Newcastle, Palace, etc. are not playing in. But hopefully after the cup, then we can pivot our team and start thinking about our sort of end team then. But after a biggish boost from the 9 players playing in the FA Cup, hopefully.
What was weird for me is that I didn't go down that much in overall rank at the weekend. I only got 51 points. And I look at the ultimate leaderboard, and the next person to score less than me is 23rd.
Oh wow, really?
So it feels like a lot of people had a good weekend, but then, as I say, like my overall rank didn't go down that much.
Yeah, the slight grade, 60 points this weekend. Not helped by my transfers. I think Aina was maybe our difference potentially, but yeah.
You thinking of making any moves this weekend, or just
No,
wait until after?
just leaving it now up until after the FA Cup games then, and obviously be looking to get Salah back some point. Haven't quite worked out yet. Like I say, it's all. I'm really looking forward to this break now, where we can properly sort of it just feels like the last few weeks have been mayhem. Every FA Cup game, even the European games, they've all contributed to the layout of these Premier League matches and how it's affected the Telegraph, and found it quite tough keeping on top of it all. So yeah, looking forward now to just seeing this weekend out, having a break, coming back, and then just hopefully smashing the final 2 months. Chris says 59 in TFF, but couldn't shift Cunha out for Haaland, so just delayed that move as wanted to gain the points for Trent, Luis Diaz, and Salah Haaland next week. That's the way to play, Chris. Well played. Superb. But he also says terrible week in FPL. Forgot to amend captain. It was Palmer. Yeah, it's that Salah versus Palmer debate was quite an interesting one. I don't know. For me, Salah was pretty clear cut, but there seems to be a group of people on Twitter. I don't know what they're looking at to convince them that Palmer was a better shout than Salah this week. If you're chasing, I get it. I completely get it. If you're chasing, if you're just done and you really need a lift, but hey ho. Dream Team. Interesting week this week.
Yeah, I took out Munoz. So
Same. Another 10-pointer.
if I knew Asensio was injured, I would have kept him as well,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
which is
Oh, of
annoying.
course you had Asensio, didn't you? Well, and Martinez missed out as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which was good for us, I suppose. I don't think either of us have got Martinez anymore, have we?
Nah. I've still got 3 Villa players, so I will only be playing with 10 next week as well. Yeah, I've got 77 for the week, so not a disaster, not great, but not a disaster, I'd say. Um, yeah, none of my real differentials came in at all. Hope for some points midweek, and then hope Asensio comes back as well, and then likely moves for me this week. I'm looking at a few options. Bournemouth midfielders interest me. I'm going to look for any leaks that come if Foden starts, or I know that Foden starts. I think I'll go on, but if I don't know, I think there's a good chance that Marmoush comes in for Foden against Brighton this weekend. So I'm not going to rush him back unless I know that he's playing. I have thought about Wood maybe from Watkins as an option, but I'm not. I'm certainly not set on it. But yeah, Clivert, Semenyo, a couple of options as well. I'm thinking of.
It's interesting, and we said this last week, didn't it? But the outcome of the European matches will be big as well in terms of, it looks like obviously Arsenal are through. Liverpool probably on a knife edge, it's fair to say, I think.
Yeah,
Man United, same. Villa probably through. Spurs definitely on a knife edge. Chelsea probably safe to say they're through. So the results this week could be interesting in terms of forward thinking as well. It's going to be it's going to be interesting because if Liverpool go out and they're out of the FA Cup, I saw lots of, because I dropped massively in rank on Saturday and I couldn't really understand it, and I had a look and people have brought in like 6 Liverpool players, which if they go through, they're laughing. I know they're home now to PSG, which should do okay. Home's Newcastle in the final, which again they should do okay. But after that, they've only got a single game. And then after that, if they lose to PSG or if they're out of PSG, they've got nothing then for the rest of the season. So it's going to be, it's going to be interesting.
that first week back is going to be really interesting for transfers, more so than this week. Like having one eye on those transfers this week, because
Yeah.
Crystal Palace have got an amazing double that week as well. But then they've got the blank this week, so and then no Europe after that. Albeit they do have that double. We'll say it's Newcastle
Yeah,
away and Man
mid-April.
City away, which isn't a great double either.
Yeah, I brought in, I did Munoz to Van Dijk. I'm still not too disappointed with that because people they basically have to transfer out Munoz this week, or so I'm hoping the points, the 3 gains of Van Dijk will hopefully equal the sum of the Munoz haul. So I'm not too disappointed with that. But I did take a punt and I was close. Do you know what? I'm really frustrated with myself because Cucurella was really on my mind. And I was weighing up between him and Neto or Nkunku. I couldn't have Nkunku because I ended up keeping Haaland, so it was between Cucurella and Neto. And I ended up going for Neto, which is obviously massively disappointing. 3 points. I'm not even sure that Neto will play on Thursday, whereas I'm sure Cucurella will. So that was, I wouldn't say, it's hard to say it's a mistake, obviously, because the odds on Cucurella scoring ahead of Neto was sort of minuscule, but it was a disappointing move.
I was jealous going into the weekend of those that had went in Kunku or Neto as well.
Yeah, it was disappointing, but I suppose the massive pro for me is, for the first time in a fair few weeks now, I've been talking about this every week. I feel now I can make forward facing transfers, which I haven't been. I've been chasing for the last month or 5 weeks, but now I'll very likely be taking out Neto and a Villa player. But who's coming in now? I haven't got any real obvious player. I haven't got any massive miss, so I can really think for myself and make forward-facing transfers now instead of having to get in someone, which I've had to do over the last few weeks. So I'm quite excited about that. There's a lot of you mentioned Marmoush, Foden, Brentford mid, lots lots of different options there. But I am going to wait for the outcomes, obviously, of the European games before making decisions as well. I think I very likely want Munoz for after the break, straight away back. I think away to Fulham, away to Southampton, home to Brighton. I think just the form he's in, my goodness, he's frightening at the moment. But yeah, other than that, it's really open. So even though I've slipped down the ranks a little bit in recent weeks, I think what I have done, which I know is sort of anti what a lot of people like to do, but I've hedged. And even though I haven't had the best time of it, I'm in a pretty good position now where I'm in a good position to pivot around to where I need to go, whereas a lot of people have dead-ended themselves into certain routes, or they've gone deep in, and now they're going to find it hard, I think, to get back to a state of pivot, which is kind of what I like to be on. So
You're only you're probably in a slightly better state than me team-wise, but you're only 30 points ahead of me now. You were 100 points ahead of me at one
I
point.
know.
Remember, I was about 100 ahead of you. You went 100 ahead of me, and I brought it back, like say 30 difference. But
yeah, no, I've been watching that. I've tread water though. I've gone from I've been around 20th, 30th for the last, I don't know, 8 or 10 weeks. I'm 38th now. If I stay around there, I'll be fine. Whereas you've gone massively at the rankings, haven't you? You've really risen with your differential picks, but you've been a move ahead of me for 5 weeks. Whereas, as you say, I don't think I'm a move ahead of you, but I think we're on level terms now.
well, actually, if you take Neto out, you'll be playing with 10 next week, right?
I think so. Yeah, I'll be Neto.
Yeah. So I'll be so and we'll be the
same.
They're the same. Yeah. Fair.
But yeah, interesting times. Very much a week all in all, I think, of just consolidation, which is not the worst thing, I suppose. Just a week of, as you said when we came on, just maybe slightly lower than average, but I just want to avoid huge falls at the moment. I don't mind not having huge rides as long as I don't have huge falls. So yeah, a bit of a boring week really, but
boring week, and I can't get the leaderboard up on the screen.
You can't get it up. I get to read it. Hang on, you say that. Let me.
I can't get my phone either, so I don't know if it is me or if it's.
Let's have a look. Mini leagues, summit leaderboard. Oh no, it's not working for me either. Oh no. It's not working.
The one week where I've slipped out as well, because I think I'm 6th or 7th overall rather than.
Are you really?
I was 4th.
That's so disappointing. I had up the fixture tickers for both, but I didn't have up. I normally have up the ultimate leaderboard ready as well, but I haven't got it. So apologies, everyone. I think I did look yesterday, and I was about 11th or 12th, and you were what, 7th or 8th or something like that, was it? I think.
7th, I think.
Yeah, we'll try and we'll post it. I tell you what we'll do. When it's back up, we'll post it on the Twitter feed. But yeah, gutted we can't really talk about that. I congratulate the players who are doing well. All I know is it's hard. Even when I think I've had a good week, I go on the leaderboard and I think I must have gone up a few. And I'm like, sometimes I've even gone down. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I'm 35th on FPL on it. It's just.
What are you, sorry? 35th?
35th on FPL on it. Yeah.
I've dropped mine. I'm like 29th now. So, yeah, you're not. I don't think you're that far behind me. I think we had about three places on average between us. You were like 14, I was 17 or something along those lines. So we're still quite close. It's only going to take, a big week, for you in FPL, for example, or me in Telegraph, for example, for it to close right up. I still think it's fairly close. And as long as I can keep you at arm's length in Dream Team, you will keep me at arm's length at Telegraph, because we basically got the same team now, but you're like 90 points ahead of me. So FPL is the interesting one, because a lot of variance is going to happen between our chip strategies at the end of the season, isn't it? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Any tips for this week? It's the quietest one, I suppose.
Well, I backed Cucurella. You're talking about Cucurella, and whilst I wouldn't proclaim to think that I was going to get him in Dream Team, I did tip him on the Telegraph tips for the week as well. So, yeah. Do you know, it's the way that the fixtures land this weekend that I can't recommend any transfers. I think if Forest weren't playing first, maybe I would have tipped them in Telegraph. Like
Yeah.
that was a good entry point to move back into with the FA Cup coming and such like. But yeah, I just don't think that I don't think that there's any like patterns where you can get the extra games or such like out of same Man City play first as well. Um, maybe moving on to Bournemouth players if there was players that you want to come off on the 3 o'clock games on Saturday and
Yeah.
getting extra fixtures. Perhaps a team doesn't play in the FA Cup and you're picking up the Bournemouth player at home to Brentford and
Yeah.
they play in the FA Cup. The first set of games after the international break, maybe that's an option for some people.
Bournemouth have got a 4-1 over lots of teams in that
Yep.
in that period. They got a 4-1 over Liverpool, Newcastle, and Southampton. They've also got a 4-2 over most of the other teams as well. So yeah, but if you're looking for fixture volume, and 3 out of the 4 are at home as well. So they're home to Brentford, home to Man City in the Cup, home to Ipswich Wednesday the 2nd, and then they play Saturday the 5th of April away to West Ham. So they've got a really, really nice run there. So if you have got, I think someone just put about 31. So Ross says, I missed the 3-for-1. We do too, Ross. He says, I'm 2.1k in TFF with 31 transfers. Probably time to use them. Absolutely. Smash into these 4-for-1s. It haven't massively worked out so far just because some of the results haven't gone as you would have maybe thought, like a no Liverpool clean sheet against Southampton, for example, and Bournemouth 2 Spurs 2 with Evan Nielsen back, which no one really had, all this sort of stuff. But it's only going to take 1 or 2 results in that Bournemouth one, right? For example, where Bournemouth beat Ipswich 3-0, clean sheets all round, a Clivert goal and assist and a Semenyo goal, or, and all of a sudden you
Yep.
absolutely fly up the ranks. They just quite haven't happened so far, have they? And the same with Haaland, maybe. Haaland have got Brighton, Bournemouth, and then Leicester as well. So yeah, it has. It hasn't happened yet, but it might. I think. Yeah, I haven't really got many tips for the weekend. I would probably say, if you can get off Palmer instead of Salah in FPL, I probably would. If you can get away with that, Dream Team. Back into a Man City player too. I've noticed a lot of players haven't got any Man City. I think a lot took out Haaland this weekend, like Haaland and Foden. But you're going to want to get back on them, if not for only this week, but for the following week, definitely, when they got that Leicester match as well. So, and nothing much in Telegraph. So, yeah, international break now after this weekend. And then it'll be FA Cup weekend. So we'll try and schedule in a stream in a couple of weeks. I think actually, Paul, the Premier League deadline is 3 weeks today for Gameweek 30, so it's quite a while off. But we
Yep.
will try and schedule in a stream, even if we can maybe do it between the FA Cup matches and the Premier League. Maybe another day one or something. We'll try and work something out. But best of luck for everyone over the break. Hope you're all having really good seasons. Enjoy the break. Hopefully enjoy the sun. I don't know what it's like up in Scotland, Paul, but it's been
Bad.
pretty nice
It's not
down in
bad.
Wales. You've got like a balmy 4 degrees in Dunfermline, or
Thereabouts.
yeah,
The clearer the sky, the colder it is. So.
yeah, exactly. Good stuff. Okay, thank you very much, all, and we will see you soon.